I have both kids sleeping through the night, one in the crib and one in a bed. But it's not as easy as it sounds. My name is Melissa, and this is the Couch Mom Club. I know you've heard me talk about sleep training my daughter, and I mentioned a little bit about when I sleep trained my son. And if you remember from the videos that I posted, you know that I did not have a hard time. Sleep training both of them was actually very easy. One wasn't really sleep training at all. It was just I put her in the crib and she went to sleep. It was actually the second day that she was in her crib that she started sleeping through the night. She still wakes up a little earlier than I want her to, but she is sleeping through the night. So that's a win in my books. Teo's also sleeping through the night. I told you before that I thought that maybe we would have trouble with him being in the bed, but everything so far has been pretty good. I have no complaints. But it's not that simple. You think that once you sleep train your kid, that is the only time you'll ever have to worry about sleep. But that's not true. Sometimes sleep regression happens and then you have to do the whole thing over again. The second time around or the third time around when you're sleep training your child might be easier than the first, but there's still some challenges that you have to be aware of. So I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna save you some time worrying and the heartache and pain and all of that stuff, and I'm gonna give you a couple of tips. First, I'm gonna let you know a few things that cause sleep regression. Then I'm gonna tell you about a couple of signs that you can look for. And then I'm gonna give you a couple of tips. So the first thing is what causes sleep regression. A number of things cause sleep regression. And just so you know, this is not something that happens with young babies. This also can happen to a 1-year-old and often a 2-year-old. I experienced a little bit of sleep regression with my 2-year-old, and here are some of the causes. 1, your kid could be overly tired. Now, it doesn't really make sense because you think when you're tired or overly tired, just go to bed. But in a child, they don't really get it. They just try to fight the sleep until they become overly tired. And when they're overly tired, it's not so simple for them to just go to bed. I know we hope that they would, but they just don't get it. Another thing that causes sleep regression could be family changes. Now, we've gone through a huge change this last spring when we introduced a new baby to the family. If that's not a big change, then I don't know what is. The funny thing is that he didn't show signs of sleep regression right away. It took him a little while to get used to the idea of having a new baby in the house before he started to really show signs. The next thing that could cause sleep regression is growth spurts. Your kids will grow and take in information, their brains will develop, their bodies will develop, and that growth will cause them to kind of slack on their sleep times. Teo has gone through all of those things and all at once. So it's not surprising to me that he had a little bit of trouble where sleep was concerned. These are only a few things to look out for. And as I mentioned, sleep regression can occur in kids as young as 2 months, 4 months, sometimes 6 months, a year old, and sometimes 2 years old. So you have to kind of pay attention to the child and know the different things that cause sleep regression at the stage that your child is at. So because sleep regression can happen in different ages and stages, you have to really pay attention to the child and know what stage your child is in. The signs, what to look for. So a lot of the times when your child is about to go into stages or periods of sleep regression, they're gonna show you different things. One of the things that they'll show you, and probably the most annoying thing, is you're gonna see them very irritable. They're gonna get more cranky, they're gonna get more fussy, and almost become inconsolable. So you're gonna see those tantrums start to happen. I know how frustrating they can be, but I promise you, if you just take a breather, stop for a moment, compose yourself, just understand that the kid is just tired and just needs a little bit more sleep, that will help you to just get over it, because you know how we are when we're tired. We get cranky. Imagine a small baby or a toddler. They can't help it. They're just tired. Another thing to look out for is the fighting. Is your kid fighting sleep? When it's nap time, they're trying their hardest to stay awake. When they know that they're tired, they're trying their very best to keep their eyes open. Sometimes it looks like them focusing on a particular thing, but the focus is not necessarily on what they are looking at. Sometimes the focus is just How long can I keep my eyes open? If you notice your kid is like zoned out but looking at something or really focused in on something, they might be showing signs of sleep regression. Another sign that your child might be facing sleep regression is how often they wake up during sleep time. If their naps are usually 2 hours but you're noticing every half an hour they're waking up, or if they normally sleep through the night but every hour or so they get up crying, your child might be showing signs of sleep regression. So when you're seeing some of these signs, that's the time when you could put to use some of these helpful tips. Tip number 1, you want to really pay attention to your kid and make sure that you're looking out for the sleepy signals. Those are the signals that they're going to give you to let you know that they are tired. For example, if your kid is constantly blinking and trying their hardest to keep their eyes open, and when they blink, it's just that one heavy blink that doesn't quite open right away, your kid's probably tired. Another thing to look out for to know that they're sleepy is the rubbing of the eyes. Now, I'm not going to rub my eyes because then the makeup and the lashes and all of that, it's going to be ugly. But if your kid is constantly rubbing their eyes, they're probably tired. You know your kid better than I do, so you have to look out for those sleepy signals, those signals that let you know that that kid is tired and wants to go down. Another tip that you can use when your child is facing sleep regression is to be consistent with your sleep schedule. I know it's hard, especially when that child is fighting sleep and they're crying all the time. You would much rather just hold them and console them. I get it. But some advice that will help you get through sleep regression is to just stick to the schedule. When your kid is showing those signs, they're rubbing their eyes, they're yawning, they're getting tired and cranky, you want to stick to your sleep times. Now, my son always goes down at 12, and I don't care what's happening. If we are here in the house, he goes down at 12. Does he fight me? Yes, he does. Does he wake up frequently? Yes, he does. Does he always sleep? No, he doesn't. But downtime here is at 12 o'clock, and no matter what we're doing here, we go down at 12. I am very strict with downtimes. When we're out or when there's special things happening, I will tweak the time a little bit, but I will watch for cues to let me know when he has had enough and needs to go down. Now, as I said, he doesn't always sleep at nap time, but downtime is always 12. We always follow the routine. He goes up and uses the bathroom, and he goes into his room where the lights are already off, the curtains are already drawn, and the room is already ready for him to take a nap, or at least for him to have some downtime. I like when his room is cool and dimly lit. I notice that those conditions help him to sleep a lot longer. The last tip I'm gonna leave you with is don't rush in. Your child is going to cry sometimes, especially if they don't want to sleep. That's when they're gonna kick up a big fight. And sometimes, even if they've fallen asleep, they're gonna wake up and you're gonna hear them. They might cry, they might stir, they might scream, but don't rush in. Sometimes you need to give them that space to figure it out on their own. Now, if it's been 10 minutes, 20 minutes, go and get your kid. Of course, at that time, you can't sleep and you're gonna wanna go in and rescue them. Go in. But don't rush in. Give them a few minutes to figure it out on their own. Usually, the child will figure it out and soothe themselves back to sleep. You don't have to rush in. But on those occasions when you do have to go in, don't spend too much time in the room. Still show love and affection to them, but be quick about it. Love them, hug them, kiss them, put them back to bed, and leave the room. I know, all of this stuff sounds like sleep training, but if you saw my last video, you know that I'm a sleep training mama, so no problem for me. If you are the co-sleeper and you prefer to just sleep with your baby, do you, boo-boo? Is that the saying? Do people still say that? I have no idea. So love your babies in whatever way you want, whether it's through sleep training or it's through co-sleeping or it's by watching this video. I don't know. But of course, you gotta join the club. I want you to join the club. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you're notified when I post new videos. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I will see you in the next video.